Welcome back to Martin in the Next Dimension. I am Martin. And again, we have three more games that I'm reviewing. OWL3D's live 2D to 3D conversion. So I'm playing these in 3D. And as you can see, the first game up is Simpsons Hit and Run. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically the Simpsons GTA, Grand Theft Auto. It's modeled the same kind of thing. Open world, steal cars, drive around, all in a harmless cartoon kind of way, so to speak. Setting this up is the only reason it's tricky is because there's a mod manager that will fix a lot of problems with the game. I don't think you can purchase this on any streaming service anymore, so you have to own a copy of the game, which I do. But there's a lot of flux in these. That little one spins that newspaper. But in general, once you get it set up in those patch, that's the trickiest part of setting this up. And otherwise, you're good. I do have a reshade on, but I don't think I activated it for this game. So if you wanted to try a shader, it should work just fine. The flux in the game, honestly, is fairly minimal. It does happen every now and then, but so minimal that it really doesn't really warrant mentioning a whole lot. The 3D, however, you can see on these indoor scenes looks really nice, right? But it's not peak where it could be. Close up, it looks really good. Anything in like the bottom half of the screen has fairly good depth. You have depth farther away, but I don't know if it's the maps that hold it back or not. But there's something where I feel like the depth and the distance just really doesn't wow me. And since you spend so much time in this outside open world, I think it detracts a little bit to the up close depth. But you can see here that the depth is all really spot on, and it's working really, really well. It's good depth. It's just, I think the farther distance, because you have such a long viewpoint, maybe it just doesn't wow me quite as much as I feel like it should, given that it's fairly simple. Maybe it's the coloring that is the problem, because there's not enough texturing for it to differentiate on those farther distances. I don't know. The accuracy, really, really good. You'll see errors like this fire truck had a weird glitch with it, some stuff on the ground. Nothing unusual that you've seen in any other game, but in general, it's really, really good otherwise. Kind of impressive how well it works. The game in general works really well in 3D. It takes a little bit of a performance hit. Well, they always take a performance hit, don't they? So I guess the highlights being that the 3D is rock solid, and it seems to be all decently at the right depths, and there's no weird glitches going on in the game. So it's really a model case as far as like working, right? But the cons are, I feel like it's just not quite hitting as hard as it could be. And I think part of that is just because a lot of the artwork is flat colors. And sometimes OWL3D struggles with those flat colors because it doesn't have shading to tell depth information from. And that's where the farther it gets away, the less depth kind of vibe I think comes from, honestly. But when we're talking about a game, this is pretty much how you would want it to run. The rating for this is going to be a B. So B fundamentally means that it's good. Like the 3D all works. It's really solid. It's good. It just maybe it doesn't quite deliver the impact that 3D does in other games. Like I just don't quite feel like as strong a need to play this in 3D as I do other things, but it works really well. I should note that there is probably when we talk about alternates of what you could do to make this game in 3D, there are probably a couple options. You could probably get Geo11 working with this if you use DG Voodoo and then Geo11. That would probably work with this. I have no idea what shaders would need to be fixed, but that would make this full true 3D. Or you could use VorpX and set it to generic monitor and you have side-by-side 3D. VorpX will automatically convert it. I haven't tried that with it. Maybe I'll try it at some point in time. But in general, it's a good solid B. It's a good B. So the next game was a bit of a pain to get working. So right out the bat, I'll let you know it's tricky. This game's called ONI. It also cannot be purchased on any digital service. It's a old early 2000s fighting game functionally, but very anime, as you can probably tell here. Third person, over the shoulder. The environments are kind of bland, so that's not going to help our case a little bit, but you can see it's doing okay with the 3D. The setup for this game, you have to install it. You have to get the game. You have to install the Anniversary Edition patch. Then you have to force it into full screen or into windowed screen, which is what I did here. And I guess you could use borderless full screen to make it full screen. I hadn't been using that technique yet when I recorded this though. So, but this is still pretty good. The 3D is fairly solid, and it's also pretty stable, which is a little surprising, I guess. I thought it would be a little bit more tricky, but it's not. I'm kind of surprised that those pop-up windows don't have depth in them too, but whatever. You can tell that the graphics are older, and so there's a lot less texture detail information for it to work with, but it does a fairly good job anyways, because the geometry is basic, and OWL3D specializes in doing basic geometry really, really well, as you can see by whatever this computer display ridiculous looking thing is. I think those pipes are supposed to go on the ground, but they look like they're about a foot off. So I guess that segues us really nicely into accuracy. I think that's the biggest thing I see is things floating off the ground, because it doesn't quite know. Maybe if it had better shadows, if it had ambient occlusion, I could probably use reshade to activate ambient occlusion. That might work, but it's pretty good. Honestly, it's pretty good accuracy. I don't think when I was playing it, I even noticed those things off the ground for the most part. But when you're going back afterwards, I record after I did the footage most of the time, not always. When you're going back and you're watching the footage, and then you say, "Oh, okay, I see. That was a thing." There's some haloing around her body. Again, I run it at max 3D depth almost all the time, so that can be minimized by not being a piggy and trying to max out everything like I do. But here we are. That's just who I am. So they're not significant glitches. The worst thing is just when you start the game, it's got its launcher. The launcher doesn't size right, so it's kind of an awkward start. But otherwise, it's kind of okay. There's no real mouse issue. I think you can use your mouse in this game, but I was using a joystick. I forget if the mouse glitched or not. I want to feel like it might have. But I feel like this is definitely a joystick game. Joystick. Oh my god, I did it again. A whole nother video. This is definitely a gamepad game. This is like get your Xbox controller kind of deal. And don't call it a joystick because it shows your age ridiculously a lot. So, but as you can see, it's holding all this depth pretty well. I think just the levels are really bland. There's a lot going on. I just punched that dude in the head, right on his freaking noggin. Oh, he wasn't impressed. I don't know any of the controls, I think, so I was just kind of like, I forgot there's a takedown. So he keeps getting up. He's not taking down. You see a little bit of flux just happen there also. So it's tricky to set up. So the highlights. I think the 3D is fairly solid. It doesn't flux too much, a little bit, but it doesn't flux too much. The accuracy is totally within realms of acceptability. I don't mind things semi-floating off the ground occasionally. Everything else seems to be fairly good. It does get a little confused sometimes, but pretty good. And the cons are it's just a lot to set up, right, to get this game running. If you even have this game. So say you find it, look at that crate at the bottom, way doesn't look accurate. But finding this game, installing it, getting all the patches installed, forcing it into 3D just so you can play it on OWL3D, there's a lot of work there. It's really not OWL3D's fault, but it's something to know if you're going to play this game. I'd say the value for it is good. I think it's good value. It'd probably be better if the levels were more interesting to look at, but they're very basic, and that really detracts from the desire of trying to play it on that level. So my overall rating for this game is, I'm going to say C. And technically it operates at a B level, but there's not a ton added by playing it in 3D, and on all the little minor glitches really kind of add up at a point. So I'm gonna leave it at a C. If you like this kind of game, it's worth it. It's not so fluctuating that it wouldn't work. So, all right, our next game up, and our last game in this series is Infinity Blade, which was a phone app game that you can download for the PC now. I think that they all got released on the PC, so you can find it somewhere on the net. I just thought I'd give it a try. It's another game that I had on my hard drive. Looks pretty. The 3D seems to work okay. The setup was super easy. There was really any requirement for me to do anything. It just kind of worked out the gate. This is, I think you just go from battle to battle, swiping things, and it's got a very thematic vibe to it, as you can tell by the weird mass. But the setup was not really a problem. The 3D depth is fairly nice up close, but kind of a ho-hum in the distance. And it honestly doesn't wow me as much. I mean, it's got to be really close for it just to get to the point where I'm like, oh, look how nice that is. So I don't think the distance works as well with this one. But in general, it's fairly solid. The flux, it has some weird issues figuring out like what's going on with these bamboo trees and things behind them, in front of them, all that fun stuff. That's more of an accuracy issue than a 3D issue. It tries to do the best it can, but there's a lot of noise on the screen, and maybe that's why it doesn't look as amazing as it could look. I'm not sure. But so the accuracy is okay, but I don't know. I'm just, something about it just didn't really hit the way I would like it to hit. And you don't have a lot of options to adjust in this game. It is what it is. Because it's a port of an Android game, it doesn't have a bunch of options. So now you just tap on that guy and your guy walks over. That is one glitch right there, I guess. I didn't talk about that yet. For glitches, the mouse's cursor is double, which you know how much I hate that. And there is no joystick controller because this was from a phone app. So it makes it very difficult to play with that double mouse nonsense going on. And until there's a way to fix that, we're kind of like screwed, I think, when it comes to that. That's a big glitch, and it's very distracting to have multiple mouse cursors and trying to remember which one's your actual one you're using to click on things. You see, even the combat, I feel like there should be more 3D in this, and it just doesn't quite hit the way I want it to hit. The value in general, I'm just going to say is okay. I just am not getting a lot of like, wow. And I don't know if it's because this is a fancier game with higher graphics, so it looks, maybe it's the older, more basic games just do better. I'm not sure what the reason is, but this one just doesn't sing for me. It's there, but it's just not capturing my attention at all. I mean, it's got 3D, it's not great. The highlights, it's really up close, the 3D looks good. The cons are, most other distances, it gets less and less impressive the farther back it goes. There's not a lot of punch, and it just doesn't really, I don't know, it's lacking something. I'm sorry, you said it like a million times. So my rating for this game is actually going to be a C, and that's almost solely based on two reasons. One, the mouse cursor glitch, which really makes it kind of hard to play, and two, the 3D just not selling it to me, right? I don't feel driven to try to play this game in 3D like I do a lot of other games. So that's going to be a big drawback for it. Well, let's go up and see what this next, maybe up close it'll look a little better when I walk up these steps, maybe just because in this big wide open area. So this is what the menu looks like. It's very appy, so there's not a lot going on. Oh, look at that dude. See, he looks kind of cool up close with the background so close that the depth stands out better. So maybe that is a little bit better than I thought it would be if there's not a lot of wide open areas. But the wide open areas, it's like it washes the 3D out and ruins the effect a little. This skinny ass dude is trying to kick my ass. What the hell? Oh, is that what? Is that a mask he's wearing, or is he just some weird insect monster? I have no idea what the lore of this game is. There's 3 of them, so I don't know. I assume they must be good. So I guess take it for that. I'm still going to stick with the C. C is check out for novelty, and if you really like the game, then play it in 3D, right? Otherwise, I don't feel like it's really worth the effort that's involved in it. That was cool though. That came out pretty nice. So.